The American math curriculum is very inefficient, and unfortunately, I think it's wasting too many people's time. My name is Amos Tarfa. I'm the director of Lifestem Academy and the Learning Institute for Excellence in Moorhead, Minnesota. I've been writing math curriculum now for about 10 years, and I've come to the point where I've realized we need to really take a step back and start from scratch in redefining what our goals are in math education in America. And teachers out there, thanks for what you do and trying to help get more students to do math. But I just want to give you some words of encouragement. The math that we do in America does not require 9 years. So when you go from second grade to 11th grade, for example, or 10th grade, from second grade to 10th grade, those years can be condensed to 3 years for the most part. So students should be able to do Algebra 1, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, geometry easily in 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. We don't have to be waiting till 10th grade. So some of this is going to help people that are in elementary school, but what do you do if somebody's already in 8th grade and they are struggling with math? Well, I want to address that briefly. I believe that the American math curriculum is quite inefficient. So how do we solve the problem? Well, first of all, we need to isolate what are the concepts that we want students to master. What are all the concepts that students need to know in order to do well in calculus, right? And somebody might say, well, I don't want to do calculus. Well, here's the thing. The thing about calculus is that you gain a lot of skills for calculus along the way in algebra and in the algebra sequence. And if you don't plan to do calculus, that means you're gaining tools that you don't plan to use. And if you were gaining it with joy, it's one thing. But a lot of kids are not excited about algebra necessarily. So what am I trying to say with all of that? I think we should keep calculus as a goal and statistics, both. I don't think it needs to be one or the other. We should keep those two as a goal and then ask ourselves, what skills do I need to do calculus well, right? And what are those skills? Algebra 1 skills, Algebra 2 skills. That means every math class you take, you should do your best to do well in it. Do your best in every topic. Use every resource you can, right? This is 2023, right? When I went to school, if you missed a day of school, you had to basically find someone, ask them for their notebook, take notes, because in Nigeria, note taking was mandatory. It wasn't optional. So you take notes from them, and then that was it. You didn't get to watch a lecture. There was no YouTube, right? And I'm not that old. YouTube came in 2005. So YouTube came the year I graduated. But granted, when YouTube came, it wasn't math videos, right? It was videos of cats and so on and so forth. So what we need to do is we need a list of all those topics. Well, here's the good news. We've put that together in our book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics. And a lot of these resources you can find online. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to provide a condensed place, a place where we bring it all together, right? So in Tools for Mastering Mathematics, we have a list of all the topics. It doesn't matter what curriculum you're using. It's just isolating all the topics. Addition of fractions, subtraction of fractions, multiplying, dividing of decimals. All these topics are right there. Okay. So then we need to do a few things. We need to change mindsets. We need to get people to realize, seek to master the concept. Not just to do it to say I've done it, but make sure you're mastering the concepts, right? So how can we fix the American math curriculum? We need to change the mindset of the students. We need to change the mindset of the parents. We need to change the mindset of certain teachers, right? Teachers that might think that math is not for everybody, right? Oh, Johnny cannot become a math person because he didn't do well in this class. Well, sometimes kids struggle in math not because they're not capable, but because of other factors. So no matter what career you want to go into, I want to encourage you to make sure you have a solid math base. So how do we condense math from 9 years to 3 years? We list all the topics kids need to take. We subtract summer break from math. We make sure that we do math even in the summer. We double check our foundation. We have this free worksheet called the Math Practice Worksheet. And basically every page is a specific concept. So like I open to the page on multiplying fractions. It's a specific concept. It gives you about 12 to 15 problems. You work out these problems. You have a notebook where you're taking notes. That's very important, right? So we need note taking. We need practice problems. We need coaching and guidance. We need to have a mindset of, I can do this, right? And so with our math program, or with my goal in math education, I really want to inspire young people to apply themselves to excellence in learning mathematics. No matter what career they want to go into, we teach a lot about career planning. We teach a lot about thinking ahead, job shadowing. You will notice that almost every field requires mathematics. So we can do this, America. We can make math more efficient. We can help more kids to flourish in mathematics. And the first step is getting them to realize the importance and beauty of mathematics. We can do that by teaching the history of math. That helps, right? I have some books on the history of math, the history of pi, the history of zero, and just a general book on the history of mathematics. We need to show the kids why the stuff matters, right? We need to show them what the point is. Prime numbers, for example, I don't know if you know this, but prime numbers are used in security, network security, or encryption. Sorry, we use it in encryption, credit card security. So prime numbers have a role in encryption, and so now we've seen an application. Prime numbers came from Euclid in around 300 BC. He wrote about that in his book, right? So we have prime numbers coming from Euclid. We have the application of it. And now we teach kids prime numbers. Now, prime numbers are probably the most important topic in all of pre-algebra in terms of the prime factorization piece. Why is that important? Because if you know how to prime factorize, then you will know how to find the lowest common multiple, which means you can then add fractions of unlike denominators. So notice that prime numbers have a role in helping with lowest common multiple, which have a role in helping you with fraction addition, which have a role in algebra later on. Isn't that interesting how math is all connected, right? And so we need our kids to have a solid base in understanding the history, the applications, and the way to the way to master the concept they're learning, and the mindset to change. Those are elements that can help raise some great scientists and mathematicians. That is how we can raise the next generation of scientists and mathematicians, by creating a more efficient math curriculum that can inspire students to be the best they can be in math. Lastly, we can learn from other countries that have done it well. Singapore has done something well about their math education. What can we learn from Singapore? Well, they've given us the Singapore math curriculum, right, in terms of the approach that we see in that curriculum. So whatever we need to do, we should do to help kids master the concepts they need to master. They need to have a strong number sense, understanding how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, how numbers interact. So I have, at Lifestem Academy, we use Math Mammoth, but we also have Singapore Math in our library as an option. So we have Singapore Math, we have Math Mammoth, and then we just have overall practice problems that students can have. If you have any questions about math or math education or how to master math concepts, please do not hesitate to reach out. I love talking about that. That's one of the areas I just love talking about things is in math education. I also love apologetics, and I love, of course, education as a whole. But I'll end with this analogy. There's this song by a composer called Christopher Tin. Christopher Tin has a song called Waloyo Wyoming. That's the name of the song, Waloyo Wyoming. If you want to look that up on YouTube, you'll find that very fascinating. So Christopher Tin, Waloyo Wyoming. And in this song, you see him, leading the orchestra, and there's people singing. So there's singers from Los Angeles that were singing while they had the people from the Philharmonic Orchestra in England, right? So I'm watching this, and I watch it a few times, and I've watched it a lot over the past week. And there's a few observations I want to leave you with from that song. The first observation is the passion of the composer, right? He's really passionate and excited about the song. Number two, the song itself is pretty cool, okay? In terms of the lyrics, it talks about it is well, and it's really cool, okay? Number three, I observed some of the instrumentalists, and some of them, most of them, have probably played instruments for like 20, 30, 40 years, right? These guys are master musicians. So then it got me thinking, what is your thing that you're passionate about? What is your thing that you're really good at, right? Or what is the thing that you're developing the ability to become very good at now? Where are you investing your time to become very good at something, right? And then it was a question I had to ask myself too. What is my thing that I can, by God's grace, say that I've, grown in doing this thing? And am I developing that talent and refining it a bit more and more? A question to consider, right? And someone asked me yesterday, what is your thing, right? And by God's grace, I think for me, it would have to be math curriculum. I love math curriculum, writing and investigation and breaking things down to help people understand how to do math well. So by God's grace, I've done that for over 20 years in some ways and capacities. I've done it more on a, sort of a professional level in the tutoring centers that I've worked with for years, for about 10 years. But prior to that, I worked at a math lab. And then prior to that, I've just loved trying to break math down. So it's been a long time, right? And now I need to fine tune that more and more. But what is your craft? If yours is not music, if yours is not an instrument, if yours is not conducting, what is your craft? So watch that song, Wailoyo Wayomi by Christopher Tin, and look at that orchestra and the musicians and tell me what you think. I think they did a pretty good job. Pretty fascinating stuff. So thank you for watching this video and giving me a chance to share about my passion for math education. I believe that we can transform American math education by showing young people that they all have abilities and they should refine it. And one of the abilities that we can generally all try to refine at some level is mathematical understanding. We're not all going to be Isaac Newtons or James Clerk Maxwell's or Leonard Euler's, but we all have a tool. Let us do our best to refine our tool, but then let's also do our best to do well in math and be efficient in it. Not taking 3 months off in the summer, but being diligent in learning math and learning it well. Thanks for watching this video in this series, How to Raise the Next Generation of Mathematicians. I will be releasing a few more over the next couple of weeks. Take care. If you want to read a book on this topic, there's one called Mathematics for Human Flourishing, and then Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which I have, and you can find in the description section. If you have any other questions, let me know. Take care and have a blessed day.